Hello everyone, it's Quadra here. I'm a speedrunner of Octopath Traveler, and this video is going to be sort of a tutorial for Tressa Single Story, specifically the free character route. I'm gonna cover two of the fights that I think give people the most trouble, those being Omar and Esme. I see a lot of people throw away fights that have the potential to be recovered, and likewise waste a lot of time trying to recover fights that can no longer be recovered. Before I begin, note that the strategies in this guide apply for both the Kate and non-Kate free character routes, with the exception of one strat on Omar. Alright, first let's take a look at Omar. Omar has 5 shields and is weak to dagger, spear, staff, ice, and light. He's accompanied by 2 adds with 4 shields each and are weak to sword, axe, thunder, and wind. The plan is to remove both the adds before proceeding to break Omar. We do this by throwing 2 large soulstones of either the wind or thunder element. Then after breaking Omar, we finish the fight with 1 fully boosted hired help veterans and 1 M-stone. Additionally, we have to break Omar before his 3rd action because he will sideswipe and wipe our entire party. For our setup, we would already have picked up the hasty helm along the way and equipped it onto Cyrus, which gives him a nice defense buff. We would also have given the Nourish S we stole in Boulder Fall to Cyrus, and the Nourish M we purchased in Victor's Hollow to Therion. This setup ensures that everybody lives a normal attack from Omar, barring a critical. I'm gonna show you a series of Omar fights. I'm gonna first show you the ideal fight, followed by a few fights where things do not go quite in our favor. Alright, so in this first clip, we're gonna look at the ideal fight. And what you want to look for is 2 or more characters before the adds, because you want to use these characters to throw the stones. It doesn't matter if Omar is going in between them or before them, because all of them are gonna live a hit from Omar. So mainly, the thing you want is just at least 2 characters before the adds. So that's what we're gonna do here. We're gonna throw the stones. And again, 2 large stones of either wind or thunder element will take out the adds. Then what I do here is I actually use dagger times 2 with Therion. So it doesn't matter if one of my merchants boosts, because I only need 1 merchant to use vet. So I can use the BP on the other merchant and use the remaining merchant to use vets. So that's what I do here. I use dagger times 2, and instead of 1000 spears, I use staff times 3 here because Omar's weak to staff, and this is slightly faster than 1000 spears. And again, I don't need Therion's BP, so I just use the stone with Tressa, then on the next turn I can finish the fight with just Tressa. So a pretty simple fight. This next fight is pretty similar to the previous one. So we have 2 characters before the add, so we're gonna immediately throw the stones here. Again, everyone lives a hit from Omar, so it doesn't matter. But here's something that I do differently is, if you notice, Omar is going first on the next turn, so I don't want him to hit into Cyrus because it would be pretty inconvenient. I have to revive Cyrus and most likely have to delay my break if he dies. So what I do here is I actually use a Grate with Therion to eliminate that possibility. In the end, it actually did matter, as Cyrus did get hit. And again, staff times 3, and I use Spear with Tressa here because, again, I only need 1 merchant to use vets, and I use Therion to finish the fight. Alright, so before we examine some less than ideal turn orders, I want to show you why you don't want to throw a stone unless you can kill the adds. So as you can see, when the ads are below half health, they tend to use Violent Slash, which hits 3 to 5 times randomly and usually results in a party wipe. So this is extremely devastating and you want to avoid this at all costs. Okay, so in this next fight, we're going to take a look at a sketchier turn order. So what we have here is Cyrus first, then an ad, Omar, both of our merchants, and then the other ad. So we already know that we don't want to throw a stone with Cyrus here because that puts us at a greater risk of being violent slashed. So what we want to aim for is to throw the stones with both our merchants that are going back to back. And then with Cyrus, what we can do is we can use staff ×2 into Omar. And this actually sets up the break on the next turn with 1000 spears. Then you're kind of just hoping for your merchants to not die so you can throw the stones with them. Then again, as I said, on the next turn, I can use 1000 spears with Cyrus. Then from then on, the fight is pretty standard. So again, armor corrosive and then throw the stone and use a vets with one of our merchants. Here we're gonna look at another fight where we have a bad turn order. So again, here, pretty much the worst turn order. We have Cyrus first, and then 2 of the ads, and then Omar, and finally both our merchants. So again, we know we don't want to throw the stones with Cyrus here because we're just gonna get violent slashed. So similar to the last fight, we're kind of just hoping that both our merchants don't die here. And again, we staff ×2 into Cyrus. And unfortunately, Tressa does end up getting taken out, so I have to olive here with Therion. I can't throw the stone because the ad's going next, and oliving here gives Tressa a turn on the next turn. So Tressa actually gets rest before the ad, so there are some options I can take here. So I take a look at the turn order, and I notice that on turn 3, Omar is going last. If Omar is going first, I'm gonna have to use leg hold on him, so I don't get sideswept. But since he's going last, what I can do is I can use the healing great bunch here to make sure that Therion doesn't go down to an attack here. It didn't matter in the end, but sometimes it could matter. Then I use both Therion and Cyrus to take out the ads. So right here, Tressa's low on HP, so if Omar hits into Tressa, it's actually fine because I can just break with Cyrus on the next turn and then armor corrosive with Therion, and I don't need Tressa alive for the end of the fight because I can finish the fight with Therion and Cyrus. So pretty much Therion's the only character which you don't want to see die here. But since Therion's fine, even if Tressa dies here, I can still finish the fight and not have to worry about having to res her. And even if, let's say, I'm not able to finish the fight on the first break, Omar doesn't really do anything after the first break. All he does is he just increases his shields and he doesn't attack. So you can actually break him a second time. So you can take the first break to all of your dead characters and then you can break him a second time and then finish the fight from there. So fortunately for me, he does hit into Therion. Then armor corrosive here and finish the fight as per normal. 1000 spears to break. Again, we've already taken 2 shields off of Omar. So we can just use the stone here and then use Therion or Tressa to finish the fight with Fets. Alright, next we're going to have another fight with bad turn order. Again, we're gonna have the same turn order as the previous fight. So again, ×2 staff into Omar. Hopefully none of our characters die. Cyrus dies, but that's fine. So I can actually just toss the stones with the merchants here. And I notice Tressa is going first next, so I take this chance to olive Cyrus so he gets to move on the next turn. And then I throw the stone with Tressa. And again, since we've already taken 2 shields off of Omar, I can just break with 1000 spears here and then finish the fight as per normal. Here we're gonna look at a pretty niche situation. This is a strat that you can do if you are running the non-Kate route. So this is also a pretty bad turn order. We have Cyrus first and then Omar and the ad. But instead of having both our merchants together, we have them separated by an ad. So this is pretty bad because you can't throw a stone with anyone without the risk of getting violence slashed. So something you can do here instead is you can lightning blast with Cyrus. And then you can break the ads with Mercs ×2. Again, I can use BP with Therion because I don't need both of my merchants at max BP. And then what I do here is I actually use the turn here to Healing Great Bunch because Omar is going first next, and I have 2 characters here on low HP, so there's a 2 in 3 chance that he's gonna take one of them out, which I don't want. So I'm gonna use a Healing Great Bunch here to make sure everyone's healthy. Then he does hit into Therion, so that's why I use the Great Bunch there. Then I use Cyrus and Therion to throw the stones. And then I use Leg-Hold Trap to make sure I can break Omar on the next turn. And again, since Omar speaks to staff, I use staff ×4 here and then just break with spear. Afterwards, the rest of the fight is the same. I just throw a stone, set up armor and corrosive, and then finish the fight with vets. Alright, so this next fight is similar to the previous fight, but instead of having Cyrus first, we have a merchant first. So again, I'm going to try to break the ads with Mercs ×2 and Lightning Blast. If you're running the Kate route and you don't have access to Lightning Blast and you get a merchant first, you should just use Mercs without boosting. And that increases your survivability because Mercs increases the defense of your whole party. But since I have access to Lightning Blast here, I'm going to use Mercs ×2 instead. And then I'm going to break the remaining ad with Lightning Blast. Again, I use the Healing Great Bunch here to make sure everyone's healthy. And I use Leg-Hold Trap here, but since Omar is going pretty late, I could actually have just defended with Tressa, but Leg-Hold works in every situation. And again, Soul Stones, then Staff ×4 with Cyrus, Armor Corrosive with Therion, and then I break with Tressa. And then on the next turn I can finish the fight. Moving on to Esmeralda, this fight is largely dependent on who she kills. In many instances, she will kill the wrong people and the fight will be unrecoverable. However, there are situations where the fight is recoverable, which is what we're gonna look at in this video. To finish the fight, we need to use one of the following combinations. Any large soulstone used broken, or one large wind or light soulstone used unbroken, coupled with 2 max vets and finally 2 ×3 vets. Or we can use 3 max vets and 1 ×3 vets. Again, I'm gonna show you a series of fights, the first being the ideal fight, then followed by a few fights where things do not go our way. Okay, so we're gonna look at pretty much the ideal Esme fight here. And we're gonna have a first turn break. Tressa's going first, so I'm gonna use the Wind Soul Stone here to take off 1 shield and to deal some damage. And because Thousand Spears is not guaranteed to hit 4 times, that's why I wanna take off a shield with Tressa. And then Armor Corrosive, Insight with Cyrus, and then both of our merchants here, Vets times 3 on the first break. And what the Insight does is that it makes sure that all of the 5 strikes go into Cyrus. Otherwise, it will target random characters. Then I use Let-Go Trap to make sure that Cyrus can go before Esme as I Olaf him. And then I use Cyrus again to Insight, because she's going to kill one of our characters this turn. And since she has 6 shields, I use 2 Rain of Arrows to break her, and then here I need to hit the 55-ish% collect, which I do, so I can finish the fight in 6 turns. So Armor Corrosive here, and then break Esme with the second Rain of Arrows. And then on turn 6, I use 2 Max Vets to finish Esme. Now we're gonna look at what to do if we don't hit the collect. So here, in this instance, I fail the collect. So what I do is I Insight, same as before, and then I break her again with Rain of Arrows. But instead of using Armor Corrosive with Therion, I Olive Cyrus instead, because I'm gonna need him to Insight one more time as Esme comes out of the second break. We're gonna aim to break her a 3rd time and then finish the fight from there. So like I said, Insight, and then I have to hit an unboosted collect with one of my merchants here, so I have 2, so I just need to hit one of them, which I do. Now after the second break, she's gonna 5 strike again, and same as the first break, I Olive and then Leg Hold. And now I need to take off 7 shields off of Esme. You notice she has 8 shields, so I need to take off 7 shields. So you can use up to 3 BP here. So with the first merchant, what I do is I max boost my attack. And then with the second merchant, I try to get her to 1 shield. So Tressa did miss on one of the attacks, so I have to max boost here with Therion to take off 4 shields. So hopefully Therion doesn't miss, which he doesn't. And then I Insight again. If you have money for dancers there, you can definitely use dancers. So I would use attack with the first merchant and then see how many hits I need with dancers for the second merchant, because dancers doesn't miss unlike the normal attacks. And then afterwards you just finish the fight with Armor Corrosive and then Vets. Alright, so now we're going to look at how we can recover a fight where we don't get to break her on the first turn. I get a merchant here first before Esme, and what you want to do if you have a merchant before Esme is you want to sidestep with that merchant. And this basically increases your odds of winning, because if Esme hits into that merchant, it's obviously a lot better than if she killed someone else. So like I said, what I do here is I sidestep, and then she actually does hit into Tressa, and then with the second attack she kills Cyrus. So let's say I didn't sidestep there and she killed both Tressa and Cyrus. This fight would probably not be recoverable, because I would have to olive a bunch of characters and hope for a good turn order, which is very unlikely. But since I sidestep with Tressa here, I have 2 characters alive here, so I can use Therion here to olive Cyrus, and then he's only gonna kill 1 character on this turn, so this is the best turn to try to recover the fight. If you try to recover the fight from turn 3 onwards, it's gonna be really hard and most likely you can't do it. I do get Cyrus before Esme here, which is really good, so I just try to break her outright with 1000 Spears. I don't get it, unfortunately, so this is pretty bad. So I want her to hack and slash into Cyrus, but here she actually does kill Tressa. And this is really bad, but I have to play to my out, so I olive Tressa, and fortunately for me, she does go before Esme here, which is really good, so I can just use the Wind Soulstone here to break her. I can also use a Trade Winds, but since I have the Wind Soulstone, I'll just use the Wind Soulstone. And something interesting I do here is I use the Palm M with Cyrus. So Cyrus here has a free turn because he doesn't need to use 1000 Spears anymore. Let's say if Tressa used Trade Winds here, I would probably use a stone with Cyrus here. So in the instances where you don't have the Wind Soulstone or a Soulstone that hits for Esme's weaknesses, you would have to use Trade Winds and then throw this stone with another character. But since I had a Wind Soulstone, I could use it with Tressa, and now I have a free turn with Cyrus, so I can Palm M one of my merchants, and this allows me to do pretty interesting strat here. So I'm gonna set up Armor Corrosive, same as before. And then, here with Therion, I don't max Vets. I only use a ×3 Vets here. And then I use Tressa with 2 max Vets. So I already got off 1 max Vets here. And Tressa's always going to get off another max Vets on the second break. And since I already threw a stone as well, I'm basically all set. So whatever remaining BP I have with Therion, as you can see I have 2 BP here. Whatever remaining BP I have with Therion, I can use that to boost my collect. So again, the fight is the same here. I boost collect twice, so ×3 collect, which gives me an additional 30% chance to hit the collect, which is very good. Then Insight and Rain of Arrows as per normal. And using the extra BP with Therion means that I can only use a ×3 Vets with Therion on the second break. But since I already got off a max Vets with Tressa on the first break, it doesn't matter because in total I still have 2 max Vets, and then I already threw the stone. So I can finish the fight with 2 max Vets, 2 ×3 Vets, and the stone. So if I didn't actually use a stone on the first break, I could only have boosted the collect with Therion once, because I would need Therion 2 max Vets here for a total of 3 max Vets and 1 ×3 Vets. Right, this last strat that we're gonna look at to recover a fight is pretty niche, but sometimes you do get the opportunity to do it. Again, I get 1 merchant before Esme, so I sidestep here. And fortunately for me, she does hit into that merchant. And then Cyrus. So here I olive Cyrus. And now, on this turn, I know Esme is only gonna kill 1 character, because on turn 2, she only uses Raven's Flight and Hack and Slash. So what I can do here with Tressa is I can actually use Leg Hold. Because even if she kills either one of Therion or Cyrus, I can use the other to olive, and I can still break her on the next turn. She does hit into Tressa, which is even better. So I can just roll the stone with Cyrus here, and then I have a free turn with Tressa here, so I can actually use the Palm M again. Similar to the previous instance. Then I have 1000 Spears to break. And the fight from here on is pretty much the same. So, in fights that you cover like this, it's actually possible to skip using the L Stone. You just have to use more max Vets. Because if your characters live a few turns, they accumulate more BP, so you can use max Vets on the first break. You only really need the stone if, let's say, you do a first turn break and you don't have enough BP for 3 max Vets throughout the entire fight. So most of the time you are actually going to be able to not have to use the stone anyway, because first turn break is not very likely. Again, I hit my collect thanks to being able to boost twice, and then again I break her here, and then that's ×3 with Therion, and max vets with Tressa. Again, I have already gotten off 1 max vets on the first break, so I don't need Therion to max vets here. There you have it. If you're a speedrunner, I hope you found this video helpful. If you're a casual viewer, I hope you found this video interesting. If you're interested in learning how to speedrun this game, definitely check out the speedrunning Discord, which I will link in the description. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys the next time.